On a quiet night in June 2025, residents across Beijing looked up and saw something truly terrifying. Fireballs bright, burning, and moving with impossible speed tore across the night sky. Seconds later, the city itself shook. A deep and settling rumble followed, echoing from below, and with it came whispers, rumors of something no one could possibly explain. This is the story of the Beijing fireball incident, an event that baffled scientists and eyewitnesses alike, and the strange, lingering questions that followed in its wake. The evening of June 12th started just like any other. It was around 10:15 p.m., and the bustling energy of Beijing was starting to wind down for the night. Traffic was getting lighter, the neon glow of the city painted a calm picture against the clear sky. And people were at home, scrolling through their phones or getting ready for bed. It was a perfectly normal, peaceful night. Then, the first strange thing happened. An unusual low hum began to permeate the air. It wasn't a sound you could easily pinpoint. It was more like a deep vibration, a pressure wave that you could feel in your chest. Some residents later described it as feeling like a giant engine was starting up somewhere deep under the city. Others just felt a strange pressure in their ears. Most people ignored it, writing it off as distant construction or just another odd city noise. They shouldn't have. Because what came next would be impossible to ignore. Just minutes after that strange hum began, the sky exploded with light. A brilliant orb, glowing with a fierce orange and white intensity, streaked overhead. Before anyone could process what they were seeing, another one appeared. And then a third. A silent procession of fireballs blazed across the heavens. People rushed to their windows, their faces lit by the eerie glow. Cars on the highways and city streets slowed to a stop, drivers and passengers staring upwards in disbelief. Neighbors shouted to each other from their balconies, asking if anyone else was seeing what they were seeing. Security cameras, dash cams, and smartphones all captured the incredible sight. These glowing objects tearing across the sky, moving from east to west, before finally disappearing behind the distant western horizon. The event was over in less than a minute, but the image was burned into the minds of everyone who saw it. One witness later told a reporter, "It wasn't a shooting star. I've seen plenty of those. This was too bright, too close. It felt too angry." For a few moments after the last fireball vanished, an eerie silence fell over the city. And then, about 10 seconds later, the ground shook. It wasn't a major earthquake, not by any measure. It was a short, sharp jolt, maybe a magnitude 3 on the Richter scale, just enough to rattle doors in their frames, shake windows, and set off a few car alarms. But Beijing is not a city accustomed to earthquakes. The sudden tremor sent a wave of panic through the population, with many people instinctively rushing outside, fearing a stronger aftershock. But the real fear, the deep, primal unease, began when the shaking stopped but the rumbling didn't. It continued, long after the initial quake had ended. A deep, rolling growl that seemed to emanate from beneath the earth itself. It wasn't the sound of an aftershock. It was something else. Several people reported that it felt like something truly massive was moving, shifting deep underground. That subterranean groan lasted for nearly 2 minutes before finally fading away into silence, leaving the city and its residents in a state of shock and confusion. Within minutes, social media exploded. Videos and pictures of the fireballs flooded every platform, accompanied by frantic captions and questions. What was that? Was it a meteor shower? Some people thought it might be space debris burning up on re-entry, maybe from an old satellite. Others immediately jumped to the conclusion that it must have been some kind of secret military test. The authorities released no immediate explanation, which only fueled the speculation. The online conversations grew more and more intense as people began comparing their observations. Some users swore that the fireballs appeared to change direction mid-air, making a slight, deliberate curve as they crossed the sky. Others claimed they saw the main orbs break apart into smaller glowing fragments, which fell like brilliant sparks before winking out. Then, the more outlandish theories started to surface. There were those who didn't believe the fireballs were falling at all. Based on their trajectory and deliberate pace, they believed the objects weren't crashing. They were searching. 2 days passed with no official word, allowing the wild theories to spiral. Finally, a government spokesperson held a press conference. The official statement declared that the event was likely a combination of natural phenomena, a small cluster of meteors entering the atmosphere at a steep angle, combined with a minor, unrelated seismic event. It was a neat, tidy explanation designed to calm public fears, but for scientists and amateur astronomers who had been analyzing the footage, the explanation didn't add up. They pointed out several glaring problems. First, meteor fireballs don't usually appear in such a tight, organized cluster. Second, the sound they make, a sonic boom, is instantaneous and sharp, not a prolonged, deep rumbling that lasts for minutes after they've passed. And third, what were the odds of a meteor shower and a seismic tremor happening in the exact same location, at the exact same time? But the most unusual part was yet to come. Multiple observatories and search teams reported that despite extensive searches in the areas where debris should have landed, not a single fragment, not one piece of meteorite, was ever found. The fireballs had vanished without a trace. So if they weren't meteors, what were they? Whatever it was that burned across Beijing's sky that night, whatever it was that made the very ground tremble, came and went as a complete mystery. There was no debris, no crater, and no definitive explanation. All that remained were blurry videos, frightened eyewitness accounts, and a deep sense of unease. For those who saw the fireballs with their own eyes and felt the earth groan beneath their feet, one thing is certain: the night sky hasn't felt the same since. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, be sure to subscribe for more explorations into the unknown.